पिछले 3 लेक्चर्स में हमने क्वालिटी मैट्रिक्स के ऊपर बात की थी और ये क्वालिटी मैट्रिक्स जो हैं ये सॉफ्टवेयर क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस प्रोग्राम का एक बड़ा अहम हिस्सा है। जितनी भी उसके ऊपर डिस्कशन की जाए आई थिंक विल नॉट डू जस्टिस टू द subject matter, to the importance of the subject matter. However, like everything good in life, that discussion must come to an end, and we must discuss a new topic today. That new topic is a process model for software quality assurance. So, what we are going to do is to sum up our discussions in related to software quality assurance in putting them together in the form of a quality assurance process. All managers and personnel who have worked in software quality assurance have a process that represents the way that SQA is done in that organization or SQA operates in that organization. Obviously, there are certain organizations which are mature as compared to other organizations relative to software quality assurance. We have to understand that not all organizations developing software operate at the same level of maturity in their project management skills, in their software quality assurance processes, in their software process improvement processes, and other processes like software testing, software requirements engineering, and so on. And so the maturer organizations relative to software quality assurance, this process is well defined. It consists of a set of standards for documentation and operations. While other smaller firms may have a less well-defined and more ad hoc process, the primary repository for information regarding a process is in the minds of SQA personnel as far as these smaller and less mature organizations are concerned. However, one thing is very clear, and that is that a software quality assurance process does exist. It may not be documented, it may not be as well understood. So, the process does exist, and what does it mean to begin with? To begin our discussion, let's lay out the definition of what software quality assurance process is. A very simple, intuitive definition would be a process is the way software quality assurance is done in this particular organization, whether that's a small firm or a large enterprise. Now, before we get into the detailed aspects of different activities that are organized in software quality assurance process, first, a very important question needs to be asked and then obviously answered. The question is, what would an organization do with a process model for software quality assurance? That is, why would I need a process model for software quality assurance activities? A process model for software quality assurance activities can be used as a tool to train new SQA personnel. This model can be used in estimation of schedule and estimation of use of resources in different activities related to software quality assurance. One of the things that we have talked about in this course is that usually project management is not aware of, number one, the need of software quality assurance. Number two, they are not experts in estimating the resources needed for SQA activities. When we were talking about software testing especially, we talked about the fact that there's usually no time scheduled for test planning. And so these things which are SQA related, if they are properly documented and if a SQA process is used, can be a very useful tool in developing good estimates. The SQA process model can also be used to improve the process of software development. The two, that is the software quality assurance and the software process improvement activities, are actually integrated. And it can be a model to select or develop a set of standards and templates for software quality assurance documentation. The SQA process model can be used as a tool to show the scope of SQA activities to new developers. That is, there are people who are involved in the software development activities as compared to the SQA activities. And the SQA process model can be shown as a graphic tool, or can be shown graphically to managers and developers so that they understand that these are the tasks that SQA engineers or SQA personnel perform. And once the project management understands the different tasks that are involved in the SQA process, they will be able to better schedule time, money, and other resources like software tools, and provide training to the personnel who are responsible for conducting SQA activities. So one of the key findings, or summarizing this entire discussion, I can say that the SQA process model is a very useful tool to develop coordination between the project management as well as the SQA management or SQA organization of a software enterprise. The way this discussion or this software process model that I'm going to talk about today is documented is using the input process output technique. And it is a graphic technique. Graphically, this can be shown using modules which are input, which take input, then a bubble or a box that processes them, and then results in the production or development of certain output elements. These elements can be reports, these can be plans. So here you can see the top level software quality assurance diagram in the form of input process output technique or IPO technique. So you can see that the quality assurance process takes several inputs, and these inputs are then transformed into outputs or are processed into outputs. The inputs include requirements, project management plan, configuration management plan, software development plan, test plan, risk data, and interim output and input back into the system are plan review results, updated risk list, system review results. And the output from, or the feedback from this is process issues. While the output of this large quality assurance program is quality assurance plan, metrics plan, risk management minutes, review reports, process improvement recommendations, and action item status. The software quality assurance process is based on relationships, interfaces, and tasks that are defined in different project level plans. These project level plans are project management plan, configuration management plan, and other plans that operate at the project management level. A significant task to be addressed by the SQA organization is coordination of risk management to assist project management. This involves scheduling and convening regular meetings to address risk management, maintaining lists of active risks, and tracking status of risk mitigation plans for project management. So risk management is going to be an integral part of quality assurance activities in the coming days in the modern SQA organization. Software quality assurance organizations must be actively involved in review meetings, including but not limited to peer reviews and formal design reviews with the customer. In this course, we had very detailed discussion on different kinds of reviews, and we spent quite a bit of time in discussing software inspections. The SQA organization must be actively involved in monitoring the test program on the project. And during this course, we had spent a substantial amount of our energies in trying to understand different aspects of software testing, software test planning, test procedures, test cases, and all the other activities related to software testing. The number of formally controlled significant documents, for example, SQA plan, risk management plan, metrics plan, result from performance of the SQA. So that means that the efforts done by the SQA organization, by the personnel involved in SQA activities, contribute substantially to these documents. To number one, the development, and number two, the maintenance, that is keeping them living documents, include the efforts and energies of the SQA plan, and all of these are then formally put into configuration management. So we need an SQA model which is vital for effectively identifying, estimating, and performing SQA organization or SQA tasks. The key to effective SQA is the development of an SQA plan to serve as a contract between the SQA organization and the project team or project management. The SQA plan must be based on process model that identifies the specific tasks SQA needs to perform effectively and to support the project team. We had spent half a lecture on the contents that go into the SQA plan, and we are familiar with different activities that are documented in the, or different tasks that are documented in the SQA plan. Now you have seen the top level diagram for a process model on software quality assurance that we are discussing today. And after that, we had discussed at a higher level, obviously, what are the different activities that are conducted in that process model. Now I am going to formally state the sub-processes within the SQA process model. There are 8 of them. Number 1, we have review program or project level plans. That is a task or a process within the SQA process model. Second is to develop quality assurance plan, which is again probably the most important task of the SQA organization. Third is coordinate metrics. Fourth is coordinate risk program. Fifth is perform audits. Sixth is coordinate review meetings. Seventh is facilitate process improvement. And 8th is monitor test program. Now I'm going to show you the second level graphic of the process model, and all of the 8 sub-processes that I have just listed before you are shown on that picture, and the relationship that exists between these sub-processes are also shown on that picture. And so the overall software quality assurance program has relationships and interfaces between different sub-processes, the 8 sub-processes that I've just listed before you. Here you are looking at the second level IPO diagram for software quality assurance. You can also say that this is level 1. The first one was level 0. This is level 1. This diagram shows the relationship between the 8 sub-processes that are part or that are at the highest level of quality assurance program or quality assurance process model. They are review project level plans. Number 2 is develop SQA plan. Third is coordinate metrics. Fourth is coordinate risk program. Fifth is perform audits. Sixth is coordinate review meetings. 7 is facilitate process improvement. And 8 is monitor test program. Now I ask you to carefully look at this diagram. You see that there are certain inputs in each of these sub-processes. Certain outputs are being sent to other activities or other processes. Certain processes are taking input from the outside world, and some of them are producing outputs to the outside world. And they also have interim inputs and interim outputs which are fed in and fed out or provided to different activities within this diagram. This diagram is very effective in showing the relationship that exists between different sub-processes of the software quality assurance process model. What this diagram shows is that in order for us to have an effective SQA process model, we need to have elements of all of these 8 sub-processes in our SQA program. Obviously, for a startup organization, it is not possible to have all of them at the beginning. And so, when an organization grows in maturity, it can include these sub-processes one at a time. But all of these are very important for a modern software quality assurance organization. Let us now discuss each of these sub-processes. The first is review project plans. The project plans that are produced by the software project management team must be reviewed prior to the publication. That is, before they are given to all the stakeholders. Since the publication of the SQA plan occurs in the same time frame as publication of these other project level plans, review of project level plans is necessary to determine that they are consistent, correct, and of acceptable quality. So that the review of these plans is the responsibility of the SQA group. This review also identifies top-level tasks that SQA is asked or tasked to perform, specified in these project-level plans, and identifies the interfaces between SQA and other groups in the development organization. The plans to be reviewed are configuration management plan, project management plan, software development plan, configuration system, and standards or templates that will be used throughout the software project. And so these documents, these plans must be reviewed by an SQA organization. You must have noticed that test plan is not part of this list that I've just shared with you. Test plan is not reviewed at this point in the project, primarily because it is not written at this time, normally speaking. Test plans are written after the requirements have been generated, because unless there is something to test for, you cannot really write a test plan. Thus the test plan is developed later than the document review and is taking place in other activities. So when we review different project level plans, we do not have a test plan ready to review. There are 3 sub-processes within this process that are components of the review project plans process. Number 1, review the project management plan. Number 2 is review the configuration management plan. And number 3, review the software development plan. So these are the 3 big plans that are reviewed in this activity. Now, members of the SQA organization should review each of these plans and report on the results of the review. The review should determine that the project plans are complete, consistent, and correct. So these are the reasons why we want to have a review of these very important plans. The outputs from these processes are very simple. They are documented list of issues found while reviewing various plans. And secondly, an SQA approved project plans are made available to different stakeholders of the project. Now let us take up and discuss the second sub-process in the SQA process model, and that is develop a quality assurance plan. As a result of developing SQA plan, SQA tasks to be performed on the program or project are formally documented. The SQA plan provides a roadmap to the activities SQA organization will perform. Essentially, the SQA plan serves as a formal contract between the SQA organization and the other groups on the project, specifying what tasks will be performed and according to what schedule. Inputs for this activities for this process are: number one, software development lifecycle as defined in the project management plan. Then this sub-process also requires project management plan, configuration management plan, and software development plan. This also requires schedules and standards, specifically IEEE standard 730, standard for software quality assurance plans. We have discussed this plan earlier in this course. Since writing an SQA plan is one of the most important tasks of SQA organization, this sub-process has further 13 sub-processes. The first 11 of them relate to the 11 sections that make up an SQA plan as defined in the IEEE standard. The IEEE standard for quality assurance is IEEE standard 730. The final two sub-processes identify the tasks required to document, assemble, and review the SQA plan. Now, what are these 13 sub-processes? Number one, develop SQA plan introduction. Number two is create management section. Number three is identify documentation requirements. Number four is identify standards. Number five is specify reviews and audits. 6 is review configuration management interface or CM interface. 7 is review defect reporting. 8 is develop metrics strategy. Then we have identify tools and techniques, define supplier control, and the 11th is define records approach. These 11 make up the 11 sections in the SQA plan. The 12th sub-process is document SQA plan, which requires that the SQA plan is actually written using most probably a word processor. And 13th is review and approve the SQA plan. And this sub-process or this activity involves reviewing using different techniques to and then approving the software quality assurance plan that was created by the SQA organization. The third sub-process is coordinate metrics. This sub-process defines the activities and tasks that SQA performs while coordinating and collecting metrics. In just the last 3 lectures, we had a good discussion on different aspects of importance of and different metrics as far as software quality assurance is concerned. The inputs to this sub-process are, number 1, project management plan, number 2, defect tracking system, which contains information on how the defects are tracked. Number 3 is metrics database. Number 4 is product metrics data. Number 5 is process metrics data. And number 6 is standards. Now the discussions on metrics must be very fresh in your minds. And you can understand the relationship that exists between the different metrics that we have talked about and different inputs that this activity requires. Coordinate metrics. Now within the coordinate metrics process, there are 9 sub-processes, and we'll talk about them in just a minute. Both process and product metrics are addressed in this activity or in this process. And metrics reports must be published in timely manner so that any course of corrections indicated by the metrics can be made quickly. This means that if the metrics indicate that certain corrections need to be made, they can be made easily and quickly if the reports are published on time. The sub-processes in the coordinate metrics process are, number 1, develop metrics strategy. Obviously, the first has to be that the strategy for managing metrics has to be developed. 2 is create metrics database system. 3 is document metrics plan. 4 is review metrics plan. 5 is collect measurement data. 6 is compute metrics. 7 is evaluate trends. 8 is issue metrics report. And 9 is update metrics process and plans. So these are different activities within the metrics activity related to quality assurance process. And the output from the coordinate metrics process are approved metrics plan, metrics database, and regular metrics status reports. The fourth sub-process in the SQA process model is coordinate risk program. A significant activity performed by an SQA organization is coordinating of a formal risk management program on the project. One must remember that the ownership of risk management belongs to the upper level project management. SQA can provide invaluable assistance to management, however, through coordination and day-to-day administration of risk management activities. This coordination can involve a number of activities, including but not limited to scheduling regular meetings to address risk issues, chairing the risk meetings, performing surveys of the development team, including the SQA and test engineering teams to identify areas of risks, maintaining a database of risk issues, and collecting and tracking risk reduction plans. Risk management is an important part in the overall success strategy of the software project. The inputs to the coordinate risk program are project level plans, which consist of project management plan, configuration management plan, software quality assurance plan, and test plan. Process risks, product risks, and risk database. You can define risk types in a number of ways. There are three broad categories of risk types. Number one is known unknowns. Number two are unknown knowns. Number three are unknown unknowns. Funny names, but let's talk about them. Known unknowns are those areas, those risks in which the project management or whoever is dealing with the risk program knows that they don't know certain things. And so they can plan to acquire knowledge. Then there are unknown knowns. These are areas which are tricky because we think that we know about certain things, but our information is incorrect. Or there are certain areas within that which are unknown to us, but we think that we know them. And the third are the most difficult types of risks, and they are unknown unknowns in which we don't know that we don't know, or we don't know that we are wrong. And so these are the most difficult types of risks that need to be mitigated for the success of a software project. There are 9 sub-processes associated with coordinate risk program. They are: number 1, develop a risk plan. Number 2, review risk plan. Number 3, evaluate plans and schedules for risks. Collect, process, and product risks. Establish risk database. Perform risk assessment. Coordinate risk control. Coordinate risk meetings, and issue risk reports. All of these are very important for important sub-processes or activities within the coordinate risk program process. The outputs from this sub-process are risk process, risk status, risk management plan, minutes from the risk meetings, and risk action item lists, which can then be followed upon to do whatever they are supposed to do. The 5th sub-process in SQA process model is perform audits. The process for perform audits is one of the few activities remaining in the modern quality assurance that can be described as the classic policeman activity. That an activity which monitors and reviews and looks at the work done by other organizations within the project team. The inputs of perform audits are audit material, which includes requirements, which include criteria, checklists, and so forth. Configuration management system, defect tracking system, process templates, Project plans, including test plan, risks are also input to this process, and standards and templates to be used are also input to the perform audit process. A fully engaged software quality assurance organization will also perform a number of less formal audits. These should be performed according to the documented and approved audit plan and will include audits of the configuration management database. Product audits can include review of operator manuals, for example. There are 9 sub-processes within the perform audits activity. These sub-processes are: number 1, review project plans; number 2, develop audit plan; number 3, review audit plan; number 4, establish audit database; number 5 is performed process audits; number 6 is perform product audits; 7 is perform physical configuration audit or PCA; number 8 is perform functional configuration audit or FCA. The PCA and FCA are typically done when the client is a government. And number 9, we have update audit process. All of these sub-processes in the perform audit process are essential parts. Although the 2 that I just mentioned towards the end of the list are only used if mandated by the client, which typically is done in case when the clients are big governments. Then you have outputs from this process, which include audit checklists, audit issues, audit reports, action items as a result of performing audits, and updated audit process. The 6th process in the software quality assurance process model is coordinate review meetings. An organization is usually chartered with coordinating review meetings on a project or program where these meetings are formally controlled. During reviews, a specific task for SQA personnel is to evaluate the process used in performing the reviews and report on that evaluation to management. Review meetings are a very important part of an SQA organization's tasks. The input to this process are checklists, project management plan, test plan, review data packs, if there are guidelines on preparing the review material. Then there is review schedule, standards and templates. There are 9 sub-processes. Number 1, verify peer review schedule, develop agenda template, support peer review meetings, track action items, verify design review schedule, develop design review agenda template, coordinate design review data packs, support design review meetings, and track design review action items. The outputs from this activity include action items, review agendas for both peer reviews and design reviews, and review status reports for both peer reviews and design reviews. We had a good discussion on how to conduct reviews in this course. The 7th process is facilitate process improvement. A critical function of an SQA organization in the current age is to facilitate process improvement. This sub-process is only applicable for an SQA process group when the program or project organization does not have or have no access to an software engineering process group or SEPG. Even if a corporate level SEPG exists, it can be advantageous for the program or project dedicated SQA group to be responsible for some of the process improvement functions. That way, more general corporate level initiatives can be tailored and adjusted to the needs of specific projects. The inputs to facilitate process improvement process are assessment checklists, current processes, ISO 9000, SCI capability maturity model, information technology business group, testing capability model, software process improvement capability determination model or SPICE, and there can be a number of other models depending on the selection of the process improvement approach. There are 8 sub-processes in this process. They are review project plans, identify process improvement opportunities, develop process improvement plan, prepare for assessment, perform assessment, process assessment results, monitor action plan progress, and update action plans. And the outputs from this process include action items, assessment reports, process improvement recommendations, and periodic status report. The 8th sub-process in the SQA process model is monitor test program. The final sub-process is designed around an SQA group that does not have responsibility for testing. It is logical for the SQA organization to take responsibility for assuring that the testing process is performed according to the documented and approved test documentation, which includes test plans, test designs, test cases, and test procedures. The inputs of this process are standards and test documentation, which consists of test plans, test design, test cases, test procedures, and test summary reports. It also takes test output data as input and test process as input. There are 8 sub-processes in monitor test program process. Number 1, establish test metrics database, collect test metrics, report test metrics, review test documentation, monitor test execution, plan test process improvement, assess test process, and develop test assessment report. While the outputs from this process include test assessment report, including process improvement recommendation and any issues that are reported or are raised during this process. The discussion that we have had today about a process model clearly indicates that we need to formalize the different SQA activities in an organization, and we need to mature as an organization which performs SQA activities. This model also shows the different topics that we have covered throughout this course and develops the relationship and interfaces between different activities related to software quality assurance. Thank you very much.